Jai Hind to all of you. I am Dr. Himani Garg, working as professor in Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering at Ajay Kumar Garg Engineering College, Ghaziabad. Today, I am going to discuss about pulse modulation, sampling theorem and Nyquist rate. Firstly, coming about modulation. Modulation is a technique that is used in communication to transfer our data to longer distances. All of us know why modulation is needed, because so as to decrease the antenna height as well as very other factors we require modulation. Now when we talk about pulse modulation, then pulse modulation is in pulse modulation the carrier is in the form of train of periodic rectangular pulses, whereas in the case of earlier modulation techniques like amplitude modulation, frequency modulation, phase modulation, you must have seen that the carrier is a high frequency sinusoidal type of signal. So this is the sinusoidal signal. Carrier is acting as a sinusoidal high frequency carrier. Now when we talk about pulse modulation, here the carrier is in the form of train of periodic pulses. So here we are using the pulses, train of pulses, so as to transfer our data to longer distances. That's why the name called pulse modulation. Now the pulse modulation can be either analog or digital. In analog pulse modulation, the amplitude, width or position of the rectangular carrier pulses is changed in accordance with the modulating signal. Now when we see at this pulse, we can change the amplitude, frequency or width of this position of these pulses so as to get the pulse modulation, and ultimately we call them as PAM, pulse amplitude modulation, pulse width modulation, pulse position modulation. Now what we mean by pulse amplitude modulation? As the name states, pulse amplitude modulation. In modulation, we always change the parameter of the carrier according to our message signal. Now, the parameters of message can be amplitude, frequency or phase, but we are considering only the amplitude of the message signal to change the parameter of carrier signal. So in pulse amplitude modulation, the amplitude of a constant width and constant position rectangular carrier is varied in proportion with the instantaneous magnitude of the modulating signal. Now you can see here, if I am drawing the modulating signal, if this is my modulating signal, that is also called the message signal. Amplitude of this is changing at every instant. Now according to this variation, we are changing the amplitude of a constant width and constant position. Here we are taking a pulse whose position as well as width will remain constant, but its amplitude will varied in accordance with the instantaneous magnitude of the modulating signal. As the magnitude of modulating signal is changing at each and every instant, we are taking these variations and we are having a train of pulses that are acting as carrier, and the amplitude of that carrier is changed according to the instantaneous value of this message signal. You can see in the next slide, as you can see here, we are having the modulating signal. This is your carrier. Carrier in pulse modulation techniques, carrier is a train of pulses. Train of pulses are there, and then in pulse amplitude modulation, you can see there, here the amplitude of the modulating signal is 0. So the amplitude of the pulse amplitude modulated signal will remain the same. But as the amplitude of the message signal keep on going, the amplitude of the pulses keep on increasing, and for the case of decreasing signal, the amplitude of the carrier keep on decreasing. That's why it is called pulse amplitude modulation. That means all the information of the message will be converted into the amplitude of these pulses and then it will be transmitted. Another is PDM, pulse duration and pulse position modulation, that we will discuss in the next slides. Now coming to the next type of modulation, that is pulse width modulation. As you can see here, if this is our carrier, we can change the width of the pulses also. So according to the message, we can change the width of the pulses. So the width of the carrier pulse is made to vary in proportion to the instantaneous magnitude of the modulating signal. And pulse width modulation is also called pulse duration modulation, PDM, or pulse length modulation. As there is a change in the duration of the pulse or there is a change in the length of the pulse, that's why it is also given the name PDM and PLM. When there is no message, that is, if you are taking the message as VM is 0, then the width of the pulse will be equal to the original width, says delta. So we are saying that in the case there is no message, the width of the pulses will remain, pulses of carrier will remain the same as it is. For positive values of the message, the width will be proportionally increased by a factor of 1 plus Vm. You can see this is the diagram for pulse width modulation. This is the message and having the amplitude V of m. This is our pulse, train of pulses are there, and this is pulse width modulation is there. If each pulse is of duration delta, each pulse is of duration delta, then you can see that if there is no, if the message is 0, in this case you can see here for at this duration the message is 0. So you can say this is the carrier pulse and this is the duration of the width of the carrier pulse. This will be as it is. But now as our message is increasing, you can see this is the carrier and amplitude is this width is increasing and width is given by delta 1 plus Vm. Earlier it was delta, now it is delta plus del Vm. That means it is proportional to the message, proportional to the amplitude of message. So as the amplitude is increasing, the width is increasing. After this point, the amplitude is decreasing, the width is decreasing. Now again the width is, the amplitude of the message is decreasing and the width is decreasing. So in this way, the information of message is being converted into variations in the width of the carrier pulse. That's why it is called pulse width modulation. So we are having, this is the PWM form. This slide that I had missed, for negative values of message, the width decreases by a factor of 1 minus Vm. So this is the formula for calculating the width. The amplitude of the pulses remains constant in this case. As we are only bothered about the width, we are changing the width, so the amplitude will remain the same. Thus, pulse width modulation is more immune to noise compared to PAM, as most of the noises mainly affect the amplitude of the signal. But in this case, as we are not making any variations in the amplitude, that's why even if there are some variations after transmitting the signal, there are some variations in the amplitude, we can use a detector so as to level out the noise signals, and ultimately the information will be in the form of width, variations in width that can be detected. Now coming to the next point, that is the pulse position modulation. Now as the name suggests itself, position, that means the position of the pulses is changing with respect to the amplitude of the message signal. In ppm, the magnitude and width of the pulses is kept constant. Magnitude means we are talking about amplitude and width, but the position of each pulse is varied in accordance with the amplitude of the sampled value of the modulating signal. So we are only changing the position of the each pulse. The position of pulse is changed with respect to the position of reference pulses. Reference is our carrier, and accordingly we are changing the ppm pulses. The ppm pulses can be derived from the PWM pulses as shown in figure below. Note that the width increase in the modulating voltage, the ppm pulses shift further with respect to reference. Now this will be clear from this diagram. You can see here, this is your message. Till this point the message is 0, this is 0, and then the message is increasing and then the message is decreasing. In this way we will see if this is the pulse, we are having the carrier, this is the carrier. You can see here is the we will be deriving the pulse position from pulse width. So you can see in the earlier slides we have discussed about pulse width modulation, where it is 1 plus Vm or 1 minus Vm depending upon the message signal, amplitude of the message signal, the width of the pulses is changing. So the same thing has been shown here, that as the amplitude is increasing, the width of the pulses, is increasing, and as the amplitude is decreasing, the width of the pulse is decreasing. Now we have got the PWM. Now from this we will derive the pulse position modulation. For this the position is same. For this case, this is the earlier position of the train pulses. Now you can see it has shifted. Again for this pulse, the duration or the position has changed to a more distance. Then again the position has changed. Again the position value of the position that varies according to the width or ultimately the amplitude of the message signal. So summarizing this, let TP indicates the timing instant of the leading or trailing pulses edge of the pulse in each period of the pulse train. In ppm, TP, that is the position of the pulse, is directly proportional to the magnitude of the message signal. Mathematically, the position of the leading or trailing edge of the pulse in each period in PM signal is given by TP, that is the position that is equal to the function of voltage amplitude. When there is no message, the position of the leading or trailing edge of the pulses will be equal to the original position. That will remain the same. TP is equal to change in position will be equal to 0. For positive values of the message, the position will be proportionally shifted right. It will be shifted right. For negative values of message, the position will be proportionally shifted by minus t, that is in the negative direction, that is minus function of Vm. That means we are having every position is changed according to the amplitude of the message signal. Now, I hope this pulse amplitude modulation, pulse width modulation and pulse position modulation, these 3 points are clear to you. In amplitude modulation, we are changing the amplitude of the pulse. In the case of width modulation, we are changing the width of the pulse. And in the case of position modulation, we are changing the position of the pulse according to the magnitude of the message signal. Now, coming to the next topic, that is sampling process. Now, what we mean by sampling? Sampling is a signal processing operation that helps in sensing the continuous time signal values at discrete instants of time. Now, why? Firstly, the question is why we need sampling. This is one of the technique for conversion of steps for converting an analog signal into digital signal. We are having an analog signal that is continuous in nature. When you talk about analog, this is continuous. Now, if this continuous signal is to be converted into discrete signal or digital signal, then the first thing is sampling. That means we are taking, rather than a continuous signal, we are taking samples of these signals at different instants of time. For example, we are taking sample at this point, at this point, at this point, at this point, at this point. So ultimately we will be getting the samples and our signal will be like this. So rather than a continuous signal, we will be getting the discrete values of the signal. For this, so as to convert from analog to digital, so first thing is to discretization. For this purpose, we use sampling. Sampling is a signal processing operation that helps in sensing the continuous time signal values at discrete instants of time. The sampled sequence will have amplitude equal to the signal values at the sampling instants and undefined at other times. You can see for this time instant, the amplitude is this value. And for this particular time instant, there is no value of the message signal. Whereas again, for this value, we are having signal here, we are having signal here, signal here and signal here. And in between, there is no value. So we have discretized the signal by the process called sampling. This process can be conveniently performed using PAM. Now, what is this sampling theorem? This sampling theorem was provided by Nyquist, and he named it the theorem as Nyquist criteria or Nyquist rate. Now, when we are sampling the signal so as to discretize the signal, ultimately our aim is to convert the analog signal into digital signal, so that if we are having a proper digital signal, so that we are able to reconstruct the signal from sampling process, it is required that the signal sampling rate should follow the Nyquist rate. So that's why we have to discuss about sampling theorem. Sampling theorem states that the sampling frequency, that is the number of samples per second, should be greater than or equal to the twice the maximum frequency component. If any message signal has maximum frequency as FM, then according to the Nyquist rate, the number of samples should be greater than or equal to 2 FM. Only then we will be able to reconstruct the message signal from the samples. The minimum possible value of sampling frequency is termed as Nyquist rate. That means Fs is equal to 2 FM, that is minimum rate, that is called the Nyquist rate. If the sampling frequency is less than Nyquist rate, then the message signal can't be reconstructed faithfully at the receiver. That means if we are taking less number of samples, as we can see here, if we are taking very less number of samples, then ultimately we will be able to design such type of waveform. And we had transmitted this signal. As the number of samples were very less, we were able to reconstruct the are not able to reconstruct the signal properly. But in the case we are having more number of samples, if you are taking more number of samples, then what will happen? If you are taking more number of samples, then we will be able to reconstruct the signal properly. So that's why the sampling rate is very important. The Nyquist rate is very important, so that we are able to reconstruct the signal back from the discretized signal. So this is one of the numerical on the basis of sampling theorem. A message signal made of multiple frequency components has a maximum frequency value of 4 kHz. We have already seen that sampling frequency should be greater than or equal to 2 FM, where FM is the maximum frequency in the message signal. So here the maximum frequency is 4 kHz. Find the minimum sampling rate required to faithfully reproduce the message signal at the receiver. So what will be the minimum frequency? Minimum frequency that will be equal to 2 FM. Fs is equal to 2 FM, and FM here is 4 kHz. So 2 into 4, that is equal to 8 kHz. So the minimum sampling rate will be 8 kHz. So in this way, while doing the sampling process, we keep the value on the basis of the sampling rate or sampling theorem. This decides the number of samples, how many number of samples have to be taken. I hope you must have understood about ppm, PAM, PWM and sampling theorem and sampling process. Thank you for watching.